So as always, if there's any props, anything you want to have near you, it can be specifically yoga props like blocks, bolsters, blankets. You can also just use pillows or blankets around your home or towels or pets or whatever is not going to move around on you. And then just think of these props as a way to support your practice today. So we'll move a bit, but know that when we're sitting or being more still, those are great times to add some props in. And I'll always tell you where you can do that. So let's get started sitting today. Words are maybe not going to work today for me, but we'll see how that goes. And you can always sit up on a pillow or a blanket. I'm just scooting myself back. If it feels okay, you can keep the legs crossed. You always have the option to extend the legs out. And as you first arrive here, feel free to move around a little bit. And just start to check in with your body. And when you feel ready, I encourage you to find some stillness. It doesn't have to be complete and total stillness. You don't have to feel like you're frozen. If a little movement or even just still a little rock is what your body needs this morning, that's okay. My back is feeling a little tight today. I've been sitting still a lot, so a little rock as I sit here actually feels a little nice. Relax the shoulders away from the ears. Relax the jaw. Begin to soften the muscles of the face. Soften the fingers and the toes. And notice if you're holding on anywhere. And can you begin to let go even 1% more? And know that you can always adjust the shape that you're in. Just start to notice your breath. Feeling the air move in and out. And so Mary was just talking about the importance of sleep and how important it is for our bodies to reset. And even a lot of things that we do in class can kind of help prepare the body for better sleep. But even what we're doing right now, just checking in and trying to release any tension. And again, even if it's just a little bit, all of these practices can help prepare the body for sleep. Sometimes I get into bed and I can feel myself really tense and tight, and I don't realize I'm doing it. I just can feel that it's happening. And I try to just soften just a little bit. I'm just trying to allow my body to come into a more relaxed state. I might notice my breath just to help pull me into the present. Take just a couple more breaths here, settling in. One more breath. And you are welcome to keep your eyes closed or your gaze soft. Just start to roll the shoulders back. Be such a simple movement, but really starts to help release some tension in the upper body and just reverse direction. And allow your fingertips to come by your side. Again, it doesn't matter where your legs are at. Just start to reach the arms all the way up to the sky. Stretch it really tall and long, like someone is pulling your fingertips to the ceiling. And actually start to reach a little bit further with your right hand. So like someone is pulling just your right hand and that right side is getting longer. And then switch so that left hand is reaching higher. And you can keep going slow here, or you can go a little bit quicker, almost like you're reaching the hands up, like you're gonna climb. Just really stretching through the sides of the body. Just one more. And then release the arms down, give a little roll of the shoulders. And allow your hands to come towards the tops of the legs. Maybe it's your thighs or your knees. And we'll find some seated cat-cows here. So start to round the spine. Let the chin come into the chest. Feel like you're trying to separate your whole back body. Create a little extra breathing room. And then start to pull the heart forward. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. And around the spine. Letting your breath help guide you as you move through your cat and cow. Just finding one more round. So either finishing up where you are, you can start one more. And then you'll start to come back to neutral. And let's reach the arms all the way up to the sky again, but this time twist over to the right. So allow your right hand to come behind you like a kickstand. You can always put it on a prop to make your arm longer. And allow your left hand to come towards the right leg. It doesn't matter where it lands. If it feels okay, you can start to bring your gaze over the right shoulder and feel like you're trying to rinse out the spine. So you're still keeping the spine nice and long, but you're adding a little twist. Just one more breath here. Reach the arms all the way back up to the sky and twist the other way. And that left hand is going to be a kickstand. You can add something underneath the hand to make the arm longer. If it feels okay, you can bring your gaze over your left shoulder. Just one more breath. And start to come all the way back to the center. Reach your arms tall. And then release the arms all the way down. And give a little roll of the shoulders. And start to extend your legs long out in front of you. So if they're already there, that's fine. They were crossed, go ahead and straighten the legs. And you're going to take the legs a little wide. So think like you're trying to come into a straddle. And before we add anything here, just start to point and flex the feet. Again, a really simple movement, but that can have a really big impact on how our body is feeling. And then start to flex into the feet. So feel like the toes are trying to point all the way up to the sky, and like the heel is trying to push out. So depending on your own anatomy, if you really flex, your heels might float up off the ground. If that does happen, I want you to flex a little less. I just want the heels to be rested. And that is not a flexibility thing, that is just an anatomy thing. So you're gonna flex into your feet and grow the spine really tall, and you could stay right here or start to hinge at your hips and lean forward. So a lot of times when I have you come into a forward fold, I encourage you to round the spine, but I actually want you to fight that urge to round and keep the spine straight, nice and neutral. So it's going to impact how far you can go. Use your breath. You can always bring your hands out in front of you. They can stay on your legs or your hips. I'm keeping my head and my neck neutral. I'm going to get to a place where my body just can't go any further. And when I'm at that place after the next breath, then I'll start to round the spine. And only if it feels okay. If you're feeling really good with that neutral spine, please stay there. So I'm feeling like I'm trying to drop my chin to my chest. I'm going to kind of stay at that angle. So I'm not necessarily trying to go more forward. I'm just rounding the spine so I can let my back muscles relax a little bit. Just one more breath. I'll start to lengthen the spine, find my nice, strong, neutral spine as I start to come up, and I can use my hands to walk myself up. And then I'm going to rotate towards my right leg. So it's like that twist we did a few moments ago. Now, if I feel like my leg is really far away and wide and I can't twist that far, I'm actually going to just change the angle. So I'm going to bring the leg in instead of forcing my torso to go further. But I kind of want to have my torso and my foot about in the same line. And we're going to find that same action. So you'll hinge at the hips, keep the spine tall, keep the spine long. It's going to have a little rotation, just our angle. Stay here and breathe. Remember, I'm going to get to a place where I can't go any further, and that's where I'm going to pause. And after my next breath, if I'd like, I can round the spine just right where I am. So I'm not trying to go further. I'm just rounding where I'm at. Just a couple of breaths here. One more. I'll slowly start to bring myself back to that neutral spine and then lift myself up, untwist. Maybe feel a little uneven for a second, but we'll fix that. And just right away rotate towards the left leg. Again, you can change the angle. Your sides are going to be different. So keeping my spine nice and long, start to hinge. And again, it really does not matter how far that hinge is. I really just want to focus on keeping my leg active by flexing the foot and keeping my spine long. I'd like, I can start to round the spine, again, just staying where I'm at. So just letting go of a little bit of that effort in the upper body. And perhaps even just observing how the sensations shift with just changing the way that we're setting our spine. Just one more breath. Lengthen the spine and lift yourself all the way up. You're rewinding. Come back to center. Relax the legs, maybe even shake them out a little bit. And we're gonna move towards a tabletop position. So if you were sitting on a prop, just gently move it out of the way. You can always slide it underneath the knees for a little extra support, especially if the ground below you is a little hard today. And start to come into your tabletop position. If you need anything on the way there, go for it. Listen to your body. You always have the option in tabletop to drop down into your forearms if being on your wrist is not comfortable for you today. You can even, I'm going to use my puppy's blanket here. You can even put a blanket underneath the heels of the hands. And so it's just creating this little bit of an angle. So that's also another great option if you feel any discomfort in the wrists. And let's start to move through some cat-cows here. So it feels a little different than when we were seated. But I just want you to move on your own, rounding the spine, pulling the heart forward. Just taking a couple of rounds. And the next time you come towards a neutral, curl the toes under and press your hips up and back into a downward dog. And when you get there, you can pedal out the feet. That option to prop underneath the heels of the hands is still applicable in down dog. If being in an inversion, your heart is above your head is just not comfortable, stay in that tabletop position. An inversion doesn't mean that your feet are floating, it just means that your heart is above your head. So when you feel ready, if it feels okay this morning, just start to settle into some stillness. Just for one more breath. And allow your right foot to float up off of the floor. So it doesn't matter how high it goes. It can be an inch, it can be up higher. Just so you can step the foot up between the hands. So it doesn't matter how many steps it takes to get there either. Drop your back knee to the floor. And again, you can have padding underneath that back knee and start to lift your upper body up. And bring your hands to your hips to start. So we're already starting to find that balance. As you allow the hips to come forward, you might even rock in and out a couple of times. You feel steady, maybe start to reach your arms up to the sky. Feel like you're trying to squeeze your inner thighs together. You can always change the position of the arms. Just one more breath. Bring your hands down to the ground and let your right knee come back to meet your left. Before we come back to our down dog, let's come into a child's pose. Sink your hips to your heels. Child's pose is not a comfortable place to pause. You can find anything else. Just one more breath wherever you are at. Bring yourself back towards your tabletop. Curl your toes under and press your hips up and back to down dog. Let your left foot float. Again, it doesn't matter how high it floats. And then step your foot up between your hands. It doesn't matter how many hops it takes to get there. Start to lift your upper body up. You can bring your hands wherever is comfortable. You feel steady there. Maybe start to reach your arms up to the sky. Feel like you're trying to squeeze the inner thighs together. Just one more breath wherever you're at. Release your hands to the ground. Let your left knee come back to meet your right and come back into a child's pose. Finding a place where you can pause. Then start to find your way back to your downward dog, or whatever variation you're taking. Take a full breath here. And start to walk your feet up to your hands. And at a certain point, you're gonna get stuck. And then at that point, I want you to bring your hands back to your feet. But I want you to do feet first, and then bring your hands back to your feet. Again, that same inversion modification applies. If it doesn't feel good, you can stay halfway or come to stand. We'll meet you there in a minute. If it feels okay, you can relax the whole upper body like you're trying to fold over the legs. Just for one breath here. And start to press into your feet. And let's rise all the way up to stand. Reach the arms all the way up to the sky. And bring your hands to your heart center. Allow your arms to come by your side and roll the shoulders. And roll the them the other way. Reach the arms all the way up to the sky. And bring your hands back to your heart center. So you're still standing tall. And take your feet a little wide. And just start to rock the body from side to side. So just shifting the weight from one foot into the other. So starting to find something in front of you that's not moving. So not a person or a pet. But that can be your point of steady, your gazing point to help keep you balanced. You can always change the position of the hands, but start to kick your right heel to your butt. You can always come to a wall or a bookshelf. It might feel like that left foot is really wobbly, but it's actually our body just noticing and realizing that we're balancing and trying to find our center. And then start to bring the knee into the chest. So again, we're not using our hands to hold the leg wherever it's at. We're just moving that range. And you can always hold on to something. Stay facing your focal point. We're going to do one more. I know we've been here for a bit. Let the knee come out to the side. Even if you're holding on to something, you are still working those balancing muscles on the left leg. Bring the knee back to the center and release it down. And whatever you need to rinse out. So kind of reset yourself up. Maybe feel that weight shift from side to side. Find your focal point. Find where you want to keep your hands. And then let the weight shift into the right foot. Kick the heel, the left heel to your butt. Your sides are going to be different, so forget what just happened on the first side. And then start to bring the knee towards the chest. You might feel wobbly as you do this, and that's okay. And then last one here, bring the knee over to the side. Almost like we're going to come into a tree pose, but that foot is still floating. And then bring the knee back to the center and release the foot down, shake it out. Let's reach the arms all the way up to the sky. Bring your hands to your heart center and start to hinge forward. Again, you can be all the way folded or stay in that halfway lift. Bring your hands to the ground and step back to your downward dog. So it doesn't matter what that step back looks like. Just finding your way to your down dog. Maybe pedaling out the feet, shaking out the head. Lift your right foot up just long enough to step it forward. Let the back knee should drop down. And right away, see if you can start to reach the arms up to the sky. And then start to reach your right arm back and your left arm forward. It's going to change your balance. Keep the spine tall. Reach the arms all the way back to the sky and then reach the left arm back and right arm forward. But the left hip is going to kind of want to come with you, and I want you to resist it coming with you. So you're not going to be able to rotate as far. Reach the arms all the way back to the sky and bring the hands to the ground. Bring your right knee to meet your left. Sink your hips back to your child's pose or any place that feels good to pause. And then begin to find your way back to your down dog, whatever that looks like. Lift your left foot up, just enough so you can step it forward and drop the back knee down. Reach your arms all the way up to the sky. Again, the arms don't have to be straight and they also don't even have to be up to the sky. And then start to reach your left arm back and your right arm forward. And that can even just be a hands on the hips and rotate. And then reach the arms all the way back up. And reach the right arm back and the left arm forward. So again, I'm fighting the urge of my right hip to go backwards with my right arm. And then reach the arms all the way up to the sky. Bring the hands to the ground. Left knee comes to meet your right. Find a place to pause, whether that's child's pose or something else. Taking one more breath here, wherever you're at. Find your way back to your down dog, whatever that is. And start to walk your feet up to your hands. See if you can go a little bit further than last time. And then when you get stuck, walk your hands back to your feet. Press into your feet, rise all the way up to stand. Grow really tall and long. Then bring your hands to your heart center. Maybe a little roll of the shoulders, just taking a moment to feel your feet on the ground once again. Find where you want your hands to be. So that can be at heart center. Maybe they're even up to the sky or on your hips or holding on to support or even just near support so you can reach for it when you need. So just like we did before, you're going to shift the weight into the left foot and kick your right heel to your butt. And then start to bring your knee into your chest. So we're building strength, but we're also feeling the mobility of our hips. And then bring the knee over to the side and place the foot on the leg. So we're coming into our tree pose. So it can be anywhere on the leg. I say avoid the knee, just so you're not pressing directly into a joint. But really, that foot and the leg should be pressing into each other equally. You can always have the toes on the ground. I like my foot at my calf right now. And I'm really trying to feel like I'm pressing the knee open. Maybe I reach my arms up to the sky. Maybe I start to rotate my spine to the right. So we did this in lunge, we did this in our seated, but now we're doing it a little more challenged by balancing. Just one more breath wherever you're at. These are all just options. If you rotated, come back to the center, release the foot from the leg and step it down and shake it off. So working on that flexibility, but also working on strengthening. We don't want to be overly flexible and have no strength, or be all strong and no flexibility. We want to find our happy place in the middle. So everything we're doing today is giving us a little bit of both. All right, we're going to come to the other side. Shift the weight into the right foot. Left heel kicks to your butt. Again, wherever you want to have support, have it nearby. Bring your knee to your chest. Your sides are also going to feel very different. The range of motion is going to be different. Bring the knee out to the side and then place the foot on the right leg. As you gently press the foot into the leg, I want you to feel like the leg is trying to press back into the foot. So everything is hugging to your midline. Anything you'd like with the arms. If you would like, you can rotate over to the left. So you're just rotating the spine. The whole body is not going with you. Might make you a little bit more wobbly. Even if you just want to play and you just go a little bit, like that's perfect. You're changing what's happening in the body, and your body is finding new ways to keep yourself stable. Just one more breath. Come all the way back to the middle if you were rotated. Gently release the foot down and let it all go. Let's reach the arms all the way up to the sky, stretch it tall. Hinging at your hips and fold all the way forward. Step back towards your downward dog. Last down dog. And then drop towards a child's pose or something else, just to pause before we make our way onto our backs. Start to lift yourself up and start to make your way onto your back. We're not going right into Shavasana yet, but if you know you like props for Shavasana, just make sure they're within hand's reach so you don't have to get up again. And as you arrive on your back, take a moment, a few moments, anything you want when you first get there. Let's kind of check in, adjust to the new position. Then start to place your feet on the ground so the knees are pointing up to the sky. If you're still getting there, don't worry about it, don't rush. And then cross your right ankle on top of your left knee. And you can flex the foot. It's okay if you also don't here. But feel as if the right knee is trying to press away from the body. And you can stay right here. Maybe bring your arms out to the side. Or if you'd like, you can hug the figure four into the chest. You can even throw a prop underneath your left foot if you just want a little bit of a change in the hip angle. If you're holding the leg with the hands, try to relax the shoulders a little bit. So that way you're not tensing up the upper body, just to stretch the lower. A couple more breaths. If you're holding on to the left leg, go ahead and release it. Uncross the right leg from the left. And cross your right ankle on top of your left knee. It doesn't matter what variation you took on the other side. Find what variation you'd like to have on this side. You can stay with the right foot on the ground. You can slide something underneath the right foot. Or you can hug the knee into the chest, bringing that figure four a little bit closer to the torso. Last couple of breaths here. Slowly start to release wherever you are. Uncross the left leg. Hug your knees into your chest. And let them drop over to the right, coming into a spinal twist. So you can keep the knees stacked. You can always cross one leg over the other. You can always slide a prop underneath the knees or in between the knees. We're not going to be here that long. Bring the knees all the way back into the center and let them drop to the other side. Bring the knees all the way back into the center. Hug your knees into the chest. Any final movements that your body is craving this morning? Maybe a happy baby, any kind of wiggles and twists and anything really. And then start to set yourself up for your final Shavasana. Allow your legs to fall out in front of you. Arms fall by your side. Adding any props underneath the legs. You can always throw your legs up onto a chair or a couch or the wall. You can even lay in a fetal position if being on your back is not the most fun place to pause. Finding a place where you can let go. And taking these last few minutes of class in complete and total gratitude for your practice today. Shavasana. Starting to bring some awareness back into this space. Starting to bring some awareness back into the body. Wiggling your fingers and your toes. Rolling out wrists and ankles. And rocking your head from side to side. Stretching your arms up overhead, taking a full body stretch all the way from your fingers to your toes. Just beginning to roll on to your side. Pausing there for a moment. And using the strength of your arms, beginning to press yourself up, coming into a comfortable seat. And keeping your focus inside. Bringing your hands into your heart center, gently bow your head. Thank yourself for making it to your mat today, for your practice, for your energy, for your breath, and most importantly, for yourself. Namaste.